Ti faccio il chiacchiere. Cerco. Cazzo, qualcuno un po' non riesce a Busti? Ma tu non hai altre batterie? Cioè, usi solo questo? Super non è arrivato, non era Francesca di Costante.
Ma regarde, on vient de voir une des chandails, des illustrations dessus. C'est un peu plat. Ouais. Des bonnes cannes.
Ça fait un bon contexte.
Well, I didn't expect it to change, so never, maybe.
Les cartes de
It's raining outside. It's raining sideways.
I'm sure the strategy was crazy. So the thing with this one was just like, this one, that was good enough to go out there and then you could have when I heard it got stopped, I was like, you know, it's just like, it's like I can't agree with the whole thing. And I'm like, you know, no problem. Obviously, I don't have to worry about it anymore because I'm not there. But I was like, that's not bad.
Et Dieu nous a mis ça elle n'est pas vue dans la matrice. Cachez vos corps.
Oh my god.
Hang on there.
Yeah, that sounds like a joke.
Je sais que je suis d'accord. Ok, on peut se voir. Il faut y retourner. Il est tellement bon. Mais là, la police, c'est tout.
Non, mais on y retourne lundi.
C'est bon, on a marché.
C'est
comment on a marché?
Wait, there's cameras to go. I would think Judah.
Je pense que ça va être bon.
Yeah, so he's already said.
Je pense que c'est la compétition, c'est la réalité. Même dans la mise en
Yeah, era proprio. Everybody gets out of
il y a pas de pour vraiment écouter.
I'm short like this.
Il faut qu'il fasse des options.
Penso che non ho provato però un sacco di
USC checks first with message
Moi, je me suis fait prendre un jeu parce qu'il
questo l'avevo già comprato, non so.
oui, mais vraiment même là, je change de véhicule, je le vois le visage de moi. Ok, cool, je vais le laisser aller.
Alright. Yay! We're video. Oh no. Static. This was my favorite.
Yeah. Good effect. Okay.
Okay, they mic me in, but I guess, can you guys hear me in the back if I'm just projecting my voice?
You were muted. You're good now.
Can you guys hear me now? Okay, great. Okay, cool. So, hi everyone. Welcome to AR Hacking My Way Out of Deep Depression. So, I'm Anna Yosun Chang, aka Yosun on Twitter. I guess I'm kind of known as an AR hacker. If you were to basically like face profile me or something, these would kind of be probably the top 3 bullet points. I notoriously win a lot of hackathons. Recently, I won TechCrunch Disrupt Grand Prize in Money 2020, including kind of pretty much every single hackathon out there. It's kind of a bad addiction. I would suggest to not do that much because it's a lot harder than putting on a Nicorette or something to stop getting addicted to hackathons. So yeah, basically a ton of them. Also more interesting ones like Intel RailSense stuff and Project Tango hackathons, Microsoft Build, okay, whatever. You can read about that by Googling me, who cares? So I should probably go on airplane mode. This, by the way, is actually a real iPhone. Everything here is happening on a regular consumer device. Everything I will be showing will be happening on things that you can purchase. So it's all about software innovation instead of having secret hardware that does things to make things easier. Okay, so I guess I'm also kind of known as an expert in these technologies. This is an iPhone, iOS. Yeah, also Android by extension, and the IDEs that you use to develop for those platforms. And I've also had the chance to work with a ton of HMDs from HoloLens to also more esoteric ones that you might or might not have heard of, like Diffusix, and even kind of older, they're not really an HMD, Google Glass, kind of a one-sided thing. And I should go on airplane mode. Here we go. And also on the VR side as well, although this is actually an AR-centric talk, so I'll try to keep it on that side. Although technically it's all kind of the same spectrum really. VR is kind of just a subset of AR with your camera or your pass-through blacked out. Well, there's definitely more subtlety than that, but that's kind of a really quick sort of, I'll try to focus on AR, particularly computer vision stuff for, the people who are the purists out there, I guess. Also Tango, RailSense, and interesting other not-so-consumer devices. Okay, so this is kind of a hackish sort of intro. My plan is to just spend the whole hour doing demos instead of showing slides. But the demos are kind of going to be kind of like slides, like this one. It's like a slide on my face, basically. The third bullet point is I started these companies in quote, and I'll explain why they're in quotes. So one of them is Holo Yummy. I guess that gives me a little food tech badge, yay. And another one is Plato AR. It gives me an ed tech badge. And also Face.io, which is a bunch of sort of face tracking, face analysis things. Part of it which is used for this right here. And by extension, I also started kind of an e-commerce thing based on that. Kind of like eBay for your face, which eventually I'll demo as part of this spiel. And also, a while ago, I kind of made something that's Minecraft meets Foursquare. And I had a funky name. It was called Cubicula, which everyone misspelled. And also, I was horrible at marketing it. But it is kind of fun in the sense that it lets you build stuff in reality with both computer vision and also location awareness. Also, another thing is snap glasses, which lets you try out glasses on your face, and also other accessories on your face, and also buy them and stuff. And also gift gummies. So I have like also a kind of a digital pet badge. Okay, so it's a lot of companies in quotes, which kind of sounds really ridiculous. I agree. So what does that mean? Well, I'm actually secretly a company of one person, which I think most people know that as an indie developer. However, I'm sometimes not fully aware of that, and I'm kind of naive at heart because I see so-and-so, you know, like they have a huge marketing campaign and everyone knows about them, and they really just have like what, mostly delib face tracking, you know, it's like, okay, a part of me just kind of, okay, what if I could just build that as well? Of course, it's, that the downside is that because it's a one-person company, I might be considered more of like a mad scientist, just building and sort of pivoting on different sort of, I call them hacks, although some of them are kind of fleshed out enough to, I really should release more stuff, but publish and perish, and I'll talk about that later on as well. It's part of the depression spectrum. So yeah, I have an interesting face badge. Right. So this is front-facing camera AR, classic face tracking with a lot of adornments. I like to now switch over to this famous guy who kind of been characterized. He's known as this dude, Thomas Edison. He has this quote: "The real measure of success is the number of experiments that can be crowded into 24 hours." And that's kind of what I operate by sometimes. I really enjoy making hacks, and oftentimes I benchmark myself on what can I make in 24 hours. I guess TechCrunch is always a fun hackathon because I end up making like between 5 and 10 entries, and usually between 3 and 5 or 7 win something. And then every once in a while, grand prize happens, but that does not happen that often. Usually it's like 3rd place or sponsor prize or whatever. Anyways, back to kind of more the depression spectrum, I guess, because that's the other part of my talk. So this is me, which I think in this picture I look relatively not that depressed. It's very sort of like, oh, I have all these achievements, yay. But in balance, it's kind of just me building everything, which is sometimes it's very exciting to be able to build a lot of things where you're not actually trapped to just, okay, you're assigned to be like what, UI engineer number 5, division 75, you know, department 478, whatever, some, you know, just sort of, you're kind of off in a corner, even though you're connected to a larger organization, ultimately you're still kind of disconnected. But for me, it's like I'm usually aware that I'm disconnected, so I try to not think that beyond, you know, this is something I just want to see if I can build it, whether it's going to go to the next step. And in balance, critically, that might be why I often don't publish things, because I just build it, okay, it's done. I like show it to people. Maybe I'll be, I don't know, and like scalping some hackathon to like use that as a way to, can I build it in 24 hours or less, and then, you know, as like a sort of challenge. But I should probably publish more. Anyways, so this is mostly positive, but I can go into depressed critical mode very easily. What do you do when you're depressed? So for me, well, I guess let me try to clarify, I guess, the different kinds of depressions out there. Specifically, this talk is about a different, kind of more of a creative depression. By extension, that means what do you do when you have to create, or you feel like you should be creating something, but you're actually not, you're not feeling creative, the flow isn't there. And how do you get out of those, you know, those slumps, basically? So something that I do is kind of similar to Zen tangles, but kind of the creative technologist sort of version of that. I like basically drawing black and white sort of lines and then kind of putting them into multi-dimensional spaces, 3 dimensions, and also 4 dimensions are kind of interesting too. But for this demo, which is kind of actually what I shouldn't have done, because instead of making slides, I kind of stressed out and basically ended up making a sort of interesting demo. So Zentango for kind of creative technologist types of people is so instead of drawing all over and stuff, you're drawing with lines in three-dimensional space. Let's see, is it better on landscape? Okay. And what's interesting with that is, well, you can also write your own framework to make that a lot easier. And also add in animations and stuff. Great. And so in my case, I like basically being more expressive in a natural language style for the reality script framework. So the parameters you feed in is instead of having it being more technical, it's just up and then back interprets based on the first parameter. So now it's kind of moving around, and the lines have converged, and just kind of like playing with the lines and stuff. And there's also a GIF down there. Okay, and so now play with kind of time loops, so we can make different elements disappear, which is also kind of fun because there's so many different ways that can happen. And then when there's more quantity, it feels like you're being a lot more productive, even though you're having a loop do all the quantity sort of appearing and magically disappearing for you. So you can easily create stuff, add stuff, and also just throw in ridiculous things like, okay, so there's this sort of person popping up. But kind of experimenting with augmented reality going into the page and out of the page. When it's into the page, the perspective, when you have missing dimensionality in the back, looks very strange. So in which case we'll just have all the windows magically reappear again. And so that's into the page. There's a little person there. So in a way, I kind of wanted to make a sort of Sisyphus sort of perspective where there's this person pushing a stone around. They're like completely, they're doing that. It's really hard work. And it's also very repetitive. And I don't know, sometimes development feels like that because you often end up redoing a lot of things. And that's another sort of perspective that reality script, sort of the framework that I created in order to rapid prototype like crazy. I tried avoiding that to not feel like I'm a little person stuck in some gigantic abyss, just pushing a stone around forever and ever, and maybe contributing to something, but what am I actually contributing to? So you can also turn other things around, so you can add color to the picture and add in interactivity modes. So now you can basically play with the window colors. And also play with the moving blocks and stuff. So I guess by extension, once you're kind of done using kind of general black and white lines as a CT person, you can then play with the sort of lines and blocks that you've created to kind of further CT style kind of Zentango. That sort of makes sense to people. And if you poke at it, you kind of get that same satisfaction of, okay, this is starting to get into something. But then, of course, that's if you keep poking at it for a while instead of just, in a really quick demo like this. So moving on to beyond just basic lines that are moving around and kind of cool window colors that happen when you poke them and stuff. There's this interesting person here. And okay, let's give them a different animation. Let's do that pose again. And let's see. So since we're in sort of this space, we can also very easily add in some smoke. smoke and mirrors kind of, because here we see the audience kind of. So and then there's smokes and mirrors. So and now if this guy dances, we can have like circular dragon puff sort of stuff. So basically, kind of these kind of technical-ish, creative exercises. You can start very simple, sort of black-white lines, and just see what kind of interesting geometries evolve, and then add in some other elements like a dancing mannequin who has like basically a smoke particle thing on their foot, and see what extensions of other geometries arise from adding motion. In this case, I had basically a wind force from that side, so it's kind of blowing out towards you guys. So this is one way to kind of get your creativity restarted and stuff. From very basic principles. And what's really interesting with black and white lines is that there's kind of an infinite amount of things you can do with them. So this isn't three-dimensional space, but there's, as you can see, there's no lighting model. So it kind of looks like a black and white, almost like it's not comic strip. What's the other thing called?
Well, you're kind of operating off of the silhouette there.
Yeah, basically, it's like a sort of a shadow play almost, but it's like graphic novel. It's like the Frank Miller series. It's basically all black and white, right? There's, I think, another term. I mean, it's not noir. It's I forget. So, I guess when you minimize things to black and white, you can simplify things a lot and also add in color later on. And from which you can create interesting line stuff and then intersections and then have them pop in and out and stuff, interact with them, break dance, and basically come up with some interesting hacks that might be able to revitalize your creativity again. Of course, I can't say that for sure because sometimes this doesn't always work for me either. But it does kind of get me thinking about geometry and animation again and such. So I find that when this doesn't work, I have to try to find things that I can connect with and kind of more key sort of things that I care about. Although there are times when that doesn't always work. So in which case, I kind of so I have this other thing that I've been obsessing over, but it's like the app that you hear people making forever and they never actually release it, which I think is a horrible thing, but I'm notoriously guilty of that. It's called Gifgami. It's a virtual pet that initially lives in a box, and this has pressure touch on it where you can lightly touch the pet and stuff to love it and make it walk around, feed it and stuff. And I know it's kind of skeuomorphic is no longer in, and also they got rid of the slide to unlock, but I thought slide to unbox was kind of cute because before you want to turn on your computer vision mode, it's kind of in a box and then you unbox it. And then so now you're in reality. So in this case, I'm using markerless augmented reality. So the previous example, I was using this piece of paper here. And so for this one, I can basically augment onto the audience or whatever. Or let's see, how about this random thing here? This is the, I think this is the power or HDMI thing for the room, actually, or the audio thing, one of those. So now we have this box and it's like in reality, and you can have your pet just like roam about. And the ridiculous thing about like things that look like pets or living beings is that even if they're made like to look, geometric low poly, you still kind of connect with them. Like even, well, at least I mean, when I'm depressed and stuff, I can get really obsessed creating all kinds of interesting sort of reactions to this, especially using pressure touch where you can very softly touch it or like beat it up and stuff, and eventually like shatter and kill it. I don't know if I should show that, it may be too violent and stuff. So let's add some weather, make it rain, have lightning. And so I like playing with kind of a hybrid AR, VR sort of mode. So right now, you can very easily add in kind of a photosphere. So we're still using computer vision tracking, but adding in a photosphere, you can no longer see the mess in the room and other things. Oh, it's streaming of ice cream, so I'll buy some ice cream. I should probably release this. Yeah, so there's different modes, and let's put it on Gifgami paper so you can see the rain splatter, and move the cup. So kind of another way to try to be more creative is think about things that feel just kind of cute to you, or something, it's that secret sort of pocket of hope that you'll keep in your pocket, literally. And this fits in my phone, so it's usually in my pocket. I'll buy that too. So that's Gifgami, and well, I can also show the grimoire and other things, but that gets really involved. So I'll keep moving on. So in making this talk, I also, instead of making slides, I procrastinated by building another interesting hack. And that was the dilemma of actually, when you're showing a HoloLens demo, right? Most people in the room have not seen it before, and the difference between seeing a video of it versus trying it is ridiculous. Because they miss out on how current hardware is very limited in the field of view. Basically, you have well, you'll see here. So I created a hybrid AR/VR interface for being able to more easily demonstrate HoloLens demos. So this is, okay, and that's why people in the front were seeing a really last-minute, badly designed marker. I know the artistry is completely horrible. I was just like splattering stuff on a canvas just so there's a marker for this demo. But okay, this is kind of a different way to show HoloLens demos. And basically, you're able to see from the sort of God's eye, third-person view of this sort of mannequin here. We can make the person walk around. I should add in walk, but then walk might make you feel jittery and stuff. So it's just moving on X, Y. So anyways, as you can see, there's the front, back, and first-person views on the side, and also the holo view. So right now, nothing is running on a HoloLens, so the holo view is basically just, a blank screen. So let me show you what front view looks like. So the person, I'm actually using the gyroscope on my device to rotate the head. And then this is back view. Check out the mannequin butt, it looks great. And first person view, okay, so this is actually, if you have HoloLens on and it's just like on a blank screen turned on, it looks more or less like this. So notice how small the actual screen looks. It's almost like you have a index card, roughly like, a foot or two in front of you. So all those like magical sort of like elephants, like, popping into the gym, or like a whale falling from the air and like, water coming at you like from the ocean. It's gonna be limited to the box, that small box there. So anyways, let's run Gyrofire. Okay, so when I run Gyrofire, which was actually an old Google Glass hack that I made 5 years ago, 2013, right? Yeah. And you can actually go to platform.gyrofire.com. That one is actually kind of still available for download and playing around with. So now I'm walking around. So Gyrofire is running. So I don't know if you noticed that the holo view now has little blocks being shown. So as I'm moving around, you can see that perspective. So let's jump into first person view. So in the holo perspective, you have a bunch of just cubes and stuff, and there's red cursor. So it's similar to kind of a standard HMD design where you have a look cursor in the center that identifies things that you can interact with. This is kind of the bare basic interaction where you look at that thing, and then, or if you don't look at it, it's not like, basically raycasting onto it. And you air tap to blow stuff up, and also generate more. So I don't know if you see on this side, right? Whenever actually I forgot to connect the animation for AirTap. Well, that's kind of embarrassing for the hack. That was up previously, but I think I built, the build might have, yeah. But AirTap is supposed to be just this, AirTap gesture, and I had the animation tied to this Anakin, but I guess it's not showing currently. So I guess let's have the person walk around so you see the difference between different perspective, background toggle. Here we go. So let's have it. It's a lot easier to walk around on third person view. So we're there now. Yeah, this could probably use audio, but the main thing is about the demonstration. But yeah, the actual experience of HoloLens and also head-mounted displays with pass-through is basically like this. Of course, you can make the actual content more interesting, like add in Pokemon or like Donald Trump or something. In which case, I actually do have Holo Trump. Well, I hacked together Holo Pokemon and Holo Trump, like, I don't know, last year, way back. And I could show demos of a lot of interesting things there later, but it's a lot easier as a group just to see, this sort of high-level perspective from multiple perspective here. So there's that. And also another interesting thing you can do with HoloLens is, I call it like line cook. So you have these classic markers, right? So you see that, so they're just, from first person view, you can see they're just like, they look like that. But from the HoloLens perspective, you can see things kind of augmented on top. The tracking is actually a little bit better than this simulation, but you see that it's actually kind of faded because of the light pass-through, so it's not super immersive. It'll be exciting to see better sort of hardware technologies there and making it much more immersive, yet still retain the real-time reality capture connections. So I guess I'll pick this up from first-person perspective, third person. And then, so from third person, you can kind of look in on the dollhouse and just select one of these things to have the person pick up. Oops. I actually didn't fully test this. Picking things up. But yeah, basically with markers, you can very easily just move the marker around, and you kind of see that like that on the Holo perspective. So by extension, similar to the gyrofire thing, there's also, beyond just blowing stuff up, there's another project, Holo Shatter, where you can shatter things around you, also generate things around you. So there's this tiger that I put there, and I can basically walk around on first-person view, or third-person view right here, and aim and shatter. So Holo Shatter has been kind of more interesting, starting from like a glass menagerie of shatterable glass animals to just being able to walk around in real time and look at people and objects. And so HoloLens has full depth sensing, so you can just 3D scan them in real time and then shatter them. So in this case, this is kind of just an example of how it's similar to the first example of gyrofire. So instead of cubes, you have glass animals, and then you can do other things with them, like shatter them or blow them up. Kind of on a high level, it's a very similar sort of interaction. So walk around and look from different perspective. In this case, tracking's a little bit off. But yeah, so basically, I think new hardware is very exciting, but it's just that a lot of people haven't tried HoloLens to actually see its limitations, and also other HMDs. So exciting to see what will happen if they continue to develop, like in the next 5 to 10 years, whether we can really have it where you have a ridiculous explosion happen in front of you and you feel really scared by it instead of it's limited to like, okay, this box in front of you and, you know. So this is kind of a really quick demo of HoloLens to a bunch of people. Assuming that some of you haven't tried it, just understanding that, yeah, you can have AR themes augment, but it's very sort of limited like that. So this one is kind of interesting in the sense that this started like, I think 3 years ago, I made this sort of thing for a SIGGRAPH contest. So let's see, and it was like a last minute idea. I found out about a 6 seconds SIGGRAPH contest a few years ago before Vine got shut down. So it's an interesting 6-second video where I guess the theme for SIGGRAPH that year was intersections of reality. So I thought it was like a really interesting sort of hybrid demonstration. It's a Vine video. And because it's in 6 seconds, the actual real speed is a lot slower, but it's sped through, so it's kind of hard to follow. So in this version, the entire thing is actually virtual, but there is kind of the AR sort of semblance where you have a piece of paper that you have, in this case, the LA Convention Center augmented on, and a bunch of people just kind of walking around, and you're tracking that one person. That's where the green arrow is, and that's you're seeing their perspective in pseudo stereo on the bottom, and then in the end they basically raycast look at someone and like get teleported to the matrix. That's why they kind of start sort of fading like that. So this was kind of a last minute sort of what if you can put AR and VR kind of on the same screen just to explore a different perspective in seeing things. I think it would be interesting to have like a simulator type of thing that does that. So back in 2013, when Google Glass was kind of hot, I created something called Gyrofire, status beta, I guess, I don't know, Gyrofire platform. It basically lets you simulate Google Glass like on a browser, and if you basically connect it with Bluetooth or Wi-Fi, you can basically have it emulate, both ways. And also I kind of created a pseudo language that lets you do like the standard things like, okay, you can spawn stuff around you and replace the parameter of whatever you want to spawn with something and spawn that instead and then blow them up, whatever. So I'm not sure if this still works because I haven't tested this for a long time. But since kind of the sort of creative history of the previous demo, it's kind of evolved from something like a platform that lets you simulate different device sort of tries. So in this case, glass is kind of on a tiny part of your screen, on a tiny part of your eye up in the corner, and you kind of can see the interactions of the world like that. It's very faded, as with the current sort of stuff. So, okay, I'll keep moving on to some other demos, basically. So I mentioned earlier, I'm working on something more on the e-commerce sort of side to have that e-commerce badge, I guess. Another demo is snack glasses. Long story short, I have snackglass.es domain name, and I actually made glasses try-on stuff a long time ago, kind of more for parties, like for fun, try out funny glasses and stuff. And then I extended that to, well, I'm wearing glasses on top of glasses. Oh, yes, you can also try out HoloLens. So the funny situation is oftentimes I'll give HoloLens demos like in the wild at a conference, and some people would just be like, I've never worn one, and they just want a selfie with it. And That seems to be the main thing they want to do. So, I mean, this now makes it so people can selfie themselves in any of the hundreds of head-mounted displays that are coming out and available, and also see how it fits with their glasses and other accessories they're currently wearing and stuff. So not just glasses, right? You can try other things, and you can also try out your own glasses. So these are what I'm currently wearing right now, although they're much better lighting and not all scratched up and stuff. So Snap Glasses lets you try out all kinds of stuff on your face. It's kind of like eBay for your face. There's like a bidding system too. So there's also kind of suggestions on what looks good on you and stuff. So I'm going to choose this kind of face. And let's see, choose this. Okay. So I guess, you know, that you could basically analyze face shape to suggest different looks and have every single product be potentially buyable, share looks and stuff. So there's kind of a lot of interesting e-commerce and also product suggestion possibilities from trying stuff on your face. And also, sometimes, it doesn't always work though, because when you're super depressed and when selfies, I mean, when you feel your selfies just look horrible, it doesn't really get you far further from the depression. But I mean, sometimes it's cool to try out like crazy expensive, like, I don't know, Prada glass, Prada earrings or whatever, and not actually, well, just kind of try them out without really being in danger of like binge buying them or something. Although with e-commerce, that's kind of a danger. So Snap Glasses, and okay, so something kind of interesting is Play-Doh AR, and this is getting back to something that kind of arose from just drawing lines and stuff on paper. Although in this case, I actually won a commission for an interesting Verizon project. So Play-Doh AR is math made magical. Is this upside down? Oh. Was it upside down earlier? No. Okay, I'll just rotate this thing, I guess. There we go. Okay. So Play-Doh AR is math made magical. So imagine being like an 8th grade kid and being given a ton of different worksheets, and it's not fully comprehensible. Even if you do try to understand it, there's some sort of jargon that's much more easily explained by using just, you know, actually seeing the 3D geometry and how it works. Like volume, for example, you can very easily play kind of miniature Minecraft by adding little area things to create volume. Similarly for cylinders, and then you can, like, you know, move stuff around to prove the volume of a pyramid and stuff and how everything all relates. And just kind of jumping through this. So without using calculus, the way to prove the volume of a sphere is to basically move a, to basically assume that there's a rectangle 2 pi r by 2r and a pyramid on the inside that is basically concentric to the center of the sphere. And you can basically very easily verify that by having this sort of augmentation pop up in front of you. So once you prove everything, you can then go into magical lab mode, where the scary paper turns into a nice, calm-looking blue grid. And you can do interesting experiments like squishing different geometries in a beaker to find out that there are different percentages of a cube in volume. So relative volumes. Summations, find out about different things like that. Oh, and slices too. So this is very easy to show in 3D space. So like to understand how you get a circle slice from a cylinder, you just, you know, see where the plane goes and you rotate the paper to see exactly how the slices go through and stuff. Yeah, it's kind of boring, but in this case, the objective was to cover this Common Core stuff, which is from, I guess, way back, since I guess they're moving out of Common Core, and to make it so that, you know, the concepts are understandable, and also to kind of apply the sort of magic of AR to it. So a lot of people, or some people may have the criticism that AR can only really be used to teach three-dimensional things like volume. But I think that there's also ways that you can, bring it into the plane, for example. In this case, this is all planar geometry. So in a way, it's overkill because everything's in the plane. You don't really need the three-dimensionality, but it's kind of cool to see augmentations on paper, even if it's just a bunch of triangles. So this is an example of how you can use three-dimensional AR sort of stuff to teach congruent triangles by applying operators, sort of mathematics, to rotate different triangles into each other. So I'll rotate that back and then rotate the white triangle into the red triangle. Let's see, let's do 10 degrees. And then 5. Do you guys want to try? How do you get the white triangle to go into the red triangle? I'll just give you guys hints. I'm not really in a good teacher mode right now, I guess. So I just basically apply different operations to it. So I like using the mirror operation across the sort of the line across the y is negative x, right? And then rotating it to the red triangle. Anyways, when you complete the entire set, the triangles kind of come together, so you get kind of a cool 3D sort of thing happen. So the goal is to try to use as few moves as possible. In this case, I was kind of brute forcing it without trying to play golf very well, so my par is not very good. So basically, part of this project kind of evolved from just drawing interesting geometries on paper and then see where it happens and what happens to them, and then kind of taking them into a three-dimensional environment to see what pieces of line stuff, what they can be combined into to be something kind of more interesting than just planar stuff, and hence why it's called congruence necromancer. So you assemble, basically you necromance a insect back to life from a bunch of triangles on the plane. So this is Play-Doh AR, and there's like a few more modules there, but I'll kind of keep going along because I think I'm almost out of time, so there's still a lot of cool stuff to show. Something that is actually available on the App Store, which I am very bad in marketing, not well at all, as in like I literally just put it on and didn't really tell anyone, is called Magic Pull-Up. So you can actually just go on the App Store and download this app called Magic Pull-Up. And it's kind of a cool thing to use at kids' birthday parties and stuff, which sometimes is a good way to get out of your depression. Just visit like your, your niece or nephew's birthday party and offer to be like a technology magician. And so in this case, this is Magic Pull-Up. So we can randomly ask for a dessert, so I'll press the random button and it wants to give me a whoopie pie, great. So what's cool is that it's back to markerless AR where you can augment onto any surface. So in this case, I'm going to augment onto this thing right here. So now there is like a magical beam. Cool. And since I actually released this app, there is actually audio, so I'll turn audio on. Wait, how do I turn it on? Weird. Anyways, actually, I guess it's a new iPhone, so I can't use the audio jack for this. Well, you just have to imagine interesting 8-bit audio happening. So anyways, we have a magical beam. This app is called Magic Pull-Up. So when you press the magical beam, right? Oh, okay. So yeah, this whoopie pie magically pulls up. And now you have this magical whoopie pie. Of course, what's cool is that there's a ton of other interesting stuff, right? So I don't know. Like we could do, well, my favorite is usually like the ice cream sundaes and stuff. And here we go. Magic pull-up. Whoa, okay. And it's kind of a 0-calorie way of sharing a bunch of interesting desserts. Magic pull-up, right. So along the lines of food, actually, to be critical, that food there does not look very good. So you can easily have food that looks a lot better. Let's see. Well, this is another project that I work on is basically Holo Yummy. It's the world's craziest food holograms. So I did this project with Atelier Creme, a 2 Michelin star restaurant in San Francisco. So probably should have brought the demo material for this, but I'm just gonna load it up online. There's a book published called The Metamorphosis of Taste. And so it's basically book summarizing kind of some of the past cooking sort of stuff. So I have next to the book, so imagine this being a book instead of just like a picture on the screen, I guess. And then you can see different foods that have been 3D scanned to ridiculous, meticulous foodie perfection in hologram form. Oh, is this upside down again? Let's see, I'll kind of move on this side to not have vertigo happen on the display. And then you have like the spring menu to see kind of different items on it and stuff. Check out the crazy grand finale dessert. It's petite four served on a little tiny tree that they set on your table. Looking at really interesting sort of creative ways to prepare food is kind of another way to get out of your creative slump, because, I mean, can you imagine eating like a little sponge cake that's served on a sort of a wooden thing like that? Yeah, when I first saw this, I had thought you could eat the entire wooden thing, like maybe it's some sort of chocolate bark or something, but I was actually just, you know, the center thing, liquid nitrogen cooled sort of cake stuff. But yeah, my favorite item is either this one, the sea bream. It's like a little, tiny little thing served on a little crystal. And then dry aged tuna. Yeah, it's served on a log. So yeah, looking at interesting ways to present ordinary things like food, to like put them into a different light, different perspective. It's kind of another sort of good way to look beyond your sort of current depression. Well, I guess I should talk about first person, and for me that's kind of helped sometimes. So, Holo Yummy, these are some of the interesting sort of food AR sort of stuff. I actually have an interesting storage problem where I have like a fire hazard of 50 external hard drives of a ton of 3D scanned food that I've been, like some people take pictures of food, I like scan them and then don't know what to do with so much data and dump them on hard drives that are probably all like dead after the last like 7 years or so of obsessive food scanning. Holo Yummy, so actually I want to jump to proto-AR. So when I was thinking about this talk, I was considering releasing an app actually. I ended up not releasing the app because I started making interesting doodles and stuff, and also that other ideas popped up. So let's see. Is this going to connect? So proto-AR is kind of like PowerPoint or Keynote, but like it happens in reality. I guess I have AV issues. Is there AV help? Why is this not showing up? Hi, yeah, I just switched and it's not working anymore at all. Okay. Okay, here we go. Yeah. So proto-AR it lets you basically augment stuff on reality, annotate reality. So in this case, I'll just annotate this with Demo jam semi-fail. I don't know. Connectivity issues. And add in a map. So in this case, I kind of have it in a canned with a map. So just imagine having your slides being as a part of reality. And then I started kind of thinking of how I would plant it on reality, and kind of bring too many objects or too many markers would be probably too elaborate. But it's kind of part of another project where I'm basically, in a way, it almost feels like Twitter for reality, basically, where you can have little messages, annotations on reality, move them around, and then also see other sort of annotations and stuff. So it's actually related to a different project. So something called Artform AR that I kind of semi-launched at Maker Faire lets you basically do this in art galleries. And so in terms of a hybrid interface where usually you have like a map interface in a gallery, so let's see. So I'll just switch to that. Actually, sure. So another thing that I often do when I'm depressed is basically I visit a ton of art galleries. I'm a member of pretty much every single art gallery. They're also fully tax deductible, so the basic membership, which gives you infinite free entry to galleries. So oftentimes I would just visit somewhere and not really have enough time to actually find what I want to see, and the gallery is so big. So in this case, this is the National Gallery of Art. They're kind of a huge museum. I've crawled a number of paintings in the gallery, so I'm actually in the mode where I'm not augmenting or recognizing anything. I can see a map of where I am by using the paintings as the constellations. So in this case, I recognize this particular painting. So it's found in the database, and then so when I'm not looking at it, I see that, oh, I'm actually in this gallery where it's marked orange and stuff. What's also more interesting is that if I get off, I need to get off airplane mode. So there's actually data connectivity for all these apps. So it's like in a way too elaborate for some sort of hacks, right? So then I see what other comments have been actually posted on the different paintings and stuff, and I can also add in different annotations to it, such as, I don't know, this is, I guess, okay, my phone just disconnected somehow. What is happening? Okay. There we go. So, basically, you can add in different annotations and stuff, and also augment stuff on the paintings, see a grid of stuff. But primarily, it's kind of applying AR to things that are things that I do, I guess, just naturally, I guess, and finding meaning in creative programming sort of stuff where it's not just generative art, but this does kind of help me, and maybe some other people when I do publish the app, like perhaps find stuff in museums, and also be able to annotate and share interesting things on paintings. So I guess, well, in conclusion, kind of get back to the generative sort of art side. So I made this thing kind of as like a 1 hour hack to see, what would happen if I, design a really quick font and then just like scatter on a sheet of paper. Turns out it makes for a really great augmented reality marker. It's like totally tracking really well, and it's also interesting to see letters kind of come about. So does anyone have like, I don't know, something they want the audience to see? I could type in a message and stuff. Someone yell like a word or like a phrase. Lunch. All right, yeah, we're all hungry. Yeah. And I fed you guys some virtual no-calories food earlier. Oh, it's actually flipped around. So lunch. Yay. So there's kind of different ways you can have like letters rearrange themselves. So like in stop motion mode and stuff, which makes it interesting because animation can be seen in discrete and continuous forms, and it feels different depending on how they rearrange themselves, from the mess of characters to whatever you're trying to convey. I feel like a part of depression is because it's very personal and different for a lot of people. It's kind of like seeing a mess of characters on mess of letters and stuff, and it's just like, to other people it's like a giant mess, but to you, you can kind of see how you might navigate some parts of it because you've kind of been stuck in the middle for like a long time or some period of time. And however, to others, you're just a messy person or something. So it's all kind of relative, but it would be really cool if there's kind of a way to just, press a button to just have like your mess rearrange itself. So figuratively, like, psychologically, if you could just somehow have all of your personal issues just rearrange themselves and, I don't know, spell out solved or something, whatever, I don't know, some mess of characters. I think I'll run out of letters. Oh, actually, I do have enough letter space. So kind of another thing I found that's kind of good for my sort of depression, creative depression, is just, being able to kind of make sense out of different messes. And in this case, I'm cheating by using technology, I guess, because I actually know the position and rotation and all that stuff of every single letter here, so I can then easily rearrange and put them all back. If only reality and psychology and the rest were as straightforward. I've been given the 2-minute sign. Am I supposed to allow for Q&A, or is that separate?
Whatever you want to do.
I can keep showing demos, or I could, if anyone have questions or whatever, I could answer that as well. So, yay! Someone wants to show off their ringtone. There's a hand in the back. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you using your own CV?
For some things, I'm using my own CV. For others, there's like the standard sort of stuff. But the thing is, all this stuff out there, you can write on your own as well. They're all based on papers that have been published like years ago. A lot of computer vision things really have been around for like decades, but it's only been very recently that there's been kind of the hype and interest for it to reach a number of others. Yeah.
You said that you're one person company, so does that mean that you're working on the animation, the mobile?
Yeah, so I'm not trying to say this as an excuse for bad art, but pretty much everything that you saw today was made by one person. And this is just a small fraction of a ton of other things that I make. Well, just like how if you're doing web design, you would use stock photography, I do have a bunch of stock models, a number of which I actually painfully made myself. But pretty much everything here is kind of made by me, including, I don't know, these bad designs. And this was made last night, it's horrible. So I think it's more interesting that way because you feel less disconnected from the actual art and experience of creation. It's not like, oh, your main job, this is what you're supposed to do, you're assigned to, it's just, oh, you're like engineer number 5,455 or whatever, doing this thing, this is what you're supposed to do. So I don't give myself any limits, and as a result, I often meander and I learn too much stuff. I previously didn't really mention that I've done full stack, traditional, non-AR, VR sort of stuff as well. This is also why a lot of my apps have, just backends that I can very easily store data, post data, retrieve data, and the rest. I don't know, it's, I like creating things, and for me personally, it's kind of a way to stop thinking about kind of the more negative things. Basically, I have, my friend Roger has a quote about, he often thinks about basically suicide, but when he starts thinking about the ways that he would kill himself, like all the different mechanisms, then he starts just, okay, it becomes more interesting to design, to create a new interesting hack. in a way, it's just trying to get, if you're a creative person, trying to get yourself to go back into kind of that creative flow again. And some basic ways is, digital Zen tangling, basically. Because you have the power to move and rotate whatever stuff in your virtual space, you can then do a lot of interesting things from that. Digital Zen tangle stuff. Yeah, I hope that sort of answers your questions. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, as a beginner, do you have any recommendation? How do you get into this? I'm not a software developer, so I don't know any language.
Yeah, I was actually hoping to release my Proto AR app because then that would make a lot of this very, very simple for people who come from much more general background. So I guess stay tuned. I'm going to try to force myself to release a lot of this stuff. Yeah. But yeah, as a beginner, if you're more adventurous, I would say don't give yourself any limitations. Although it might be kind of a meandering sort of route where you end up learning everything and you can basically build everything. And your dilemma is, what do you do when you can build anything and you've built a lot of stuff and where are you going? It's these are actually harder questions than, okay, what do you build? Once you've built a lot of stuff, where do you go from that? That's kind of my current dilemma. Yeah, so I guess in conclusion, I built a lot of cool, interesting hacks, and I guess I'll throw on the contact page to conclude things. Classic contact page. This is the one slide I have, I guess. Oh great, so the new MacBook needs way too many converter cables. Here we go. It's not really, it's like a last minute put together thing. Yeah, so my name is Yosun. These are all the ways you can contact me. I am also known as the following one-person companies. It's funny because a lot of people contact me thinking that I'm like much larger, and some people get kind of pissed when I take forever to respond because I'm really just one person, and sometimes it may take a long time for one person to respond, especially sometimes I don't check all of my different domain emails and stuff. Issues like that. That's me, and these are some of the interesting logos that people have thought were bigger companies, but they're just me. And I'll get rid of the USB-C thing, okay. Oh, and also I just got the domain arhacks.org because I didn't know it was available, and it was, and I should probably put up a sign-up page there. And I think I'll be doing that after this session. Yeah, so cool. I hope that you got some interesting ideas from this, and if you are in kind of more of a depressive state currently, that you have a few ideas for ways to creatively, just restart your creative cycle. Feel free to drop by for more interesting AR demos. And this is kind of only a few of the ton of other things. The thing is, if I were to do badges, it would like fill up my entire face screen or something, and I felt that was too excessive. Yeah, feel free to, if you have something interesting about Lambda Spectrum, to connect in the rest. And also, if you have ideas for any of the other projects that I've shown you, they're currently all one-person companies, for better or for worse. So that might go somewhere as well. I make AR hacks, and I think I want to transition into being more of like a sort of a lab sort of setup, but that might be coming up soon. And I also ramble a lot. Thank you, and feel free to come.
Oh, planning to release it, yeah. And I have a bunch of,